As you all know, we've been on top of the Trayvon Martin case for quite a while now. It's 43 days since the killing of Trayvon Martin. Joanne Reid from thegrill.com. First of all, great job you've been doing, Joy. Thank you for staying on top of this, and great job on MSNBC. I've been watching you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So the news came out today about the special prosecutor, state's attorney Angela Corey, saying she's not going to use the grand jury. Now, a lot of folks are speculating as to what that means. Help the family understand where we're at with this.
Okay, well, Michael, that actually doesn't mean a whole lot, to be honest with you. What happened before was that the original prosecutor in this case made a date of April 10th when he was going to impanel a grand jury, Norman Wolfinger. But when he recused himself from the case on the 23rd of March, away went his grand jury, too. So his entire investigation and the date that he had set, and April 10th for a grand jury, actually went away. And the new prosecutor, Angela Corey, was not bound by that date. So all she's doing now is confirming what we were already hearing on the ground, that she's going to make this decision herself.
Well, I actually saw it as great news, George and Juan, because I didn't want the grand jury to make that decision. I wanted them to make the decision at the state level. Isn't that kind of good news?
It actually is better because, first of all, a grand jury would make it take longer. If you imagine that they've gone through all of this investigation, reviewing all the evidence in the case, and then they have to find and seat a grand jury and then have them review the case, you could be talking about another month of this. So I think with the prosecutor, Ms. Corey, doing it herself, it's actually more efficient, and it could make everything happen a lot faster.
And things will be out in the open because a grand jury would be a private proceeding, right?
Exactly. So this way, we'll find out the results of Ms. Corey's investigation directly from the prosecutor, and then we can proceed with whatever decision she makes to sort of evaluate it in the open.
We're talking to Joanne Reid, managing editor of thegrill.com. I was really proud to see those kids out there campaigning today. I like to call them young people, not kids. What was going on with the rally today in front of the police department?
So what's happened is that students from as far as 40 and 50 miles away, including some students from Bethune-Cookman College, started marching to Sanford on last Friday. And the idea was to go 40 miles to represent the 40-plus days that there has been no arrest in the case. And then today, they planned several civil disobedience actions around Sanford, one of them taking place outside the Sanford police station, which, by the way, is right across the street from the entrance to the historic black community of Goldsboro, which is a very important part of Sanford. So it's a really sort of key location. So the police department decided to shut down today for this action, but it's really peaceful. These are just students who are marching and demanding justice for Trayvon Martin.
I'm real proud of them. We're always talking about we want to see our young people be active, and they're out there doing it. I'm real proud of them for that.
This has become a really passionate issue for a lot of young people, and a lot of people don't realize that Bethune-Cookman College actually has a history in Sanford. Mary McLeod Bethune used to come to Sanford often, and Bethune-Cookman actually used to operate a high school in Sanford that by the same name.
Thank you for that history lesson. Joanne Reid, managing editor of Grill.com. The story in Tulsa, what is the significance of that? It blew up over the weekend about the shootings, a white male driving around shooting black males. What's going on with that story?
Well, this is actually very disturbing. You had 5 black men who were shot, 3 of whom died. As far as police know, the men did not know one another. There was no relationship between them. They've now arrested 2 people, 2 white males, one in his 30s, one who's about 19. There is a thought that they will be arraigned today. And this is really something unusual. You really don't have a lot of white on black or black on white shootings of this nature. Normally when people unfortunately shoot one another, it's usually within the same race. So it's a very disturbing case. And of course, Tulsa has that long history back in 1921, those riots in what was called Black Wall Street was burned to the ground. Yeah, so Tulsa has its own racial history. But this is a case where they're not saying that they're certain it's a hate crime, but it certainly has the elements of one.
You can't help but wonder, and I know Juan and George are listening, you can't help but wonder whether or not what's happened with the Zimmerman case is prompting these type of actions, especially when we talk about the armed neo-Nazis patrolling Sanford. What's the deal with that?
Well, I got to tell you, Michael, I saw nothing of that. Now, first of all, the initial story said that there were armed neo-Nazis patrolling the area where the shooting took place. Well, the area where the shooting took place is across the street from an elementary school.
Right.
So if there are armed people walking around that area, it would be news to most of the news folks that are around that area. Yeah, I haven't seen any of that, but just the idea of people racializing this case, I think, is disturbing.
Absolutely. We got to focus on the fact that it's right and wrong. We know there's some injustice in terms of the race of the young kid, but we still got to focus on the fact that the system is just not working. It's not working for us, and it's not working for anybody right now.
Yeah, and what you have really are people who don't live in Sanford who are coming in. You also had the supposed Black Panther movement people there were only about 6 of them, and they got a lot of, and people are basically using this as a chance to get attention.
Absolutely.
So this group of supposed neo-Nazis, they're not from Sanford. I saw none of that when I was down there. So hopefully it's just people looking for attention.
Joanne Reid, the managing editor of thegrill.com. And once again, Joy, you're doing a wonderful job. I watch you guys every night on MSNBC. And, who knows? I'm hoping we'll get an arrest. And I want to make sure we're clear on this while my white and Latino and Asian Native American family are listening, along with the Black and Caribbean family. We don't know precisely what happened, but we would like to get in the courtroom to figure it out. So I just want to emphasize that we're not saying this man is absolutely guilty, but we believe he is, but we'd like to see the evidence in a courtroom and not mediate this thing in the media.
And Michael, I think you make a really good point because in speaking with the attorneys for Trayvon Martin's parents, that's the point they've made too. They have not gone out in public and said that they think George Zimmerman is guilty of fill in the blanks. What they've simply said is that they want to see a complete investigation and that they would like to see an arrest so that an investigation could proceed. No one has said that they think Zimmerman is guilty of fill in the blanks. No one knows. People just want to see an investigation, and that includes Trayvon Martin's family.
Now, I believe he's guilty, but I don't know that he's guilty, and that's why we need to get into the courtroom.
Well, I think the point really here is that a lot of people were unhappy with the initial investigation that was done. It seemed very quick. And it seemed like a decision was made by the police department very quickly. So we really don't know whether or not George Zimmerman will ultimately be charged even with a crime. But I think that what the public is looking for right now is a fuller investigation than people perceive happened initially.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joanne Reid. And keep doing the good work. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Headed back to Sanford this evening. So
I know. I'll be seeing you on the tube. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you.